So I don't normally do intro videos for the podcast. This week, though, I did feel it was very necessary in light of what sort of happened in my own personal community. We just, in Colorado, just had the most destructive wildfire in the state's history. It happened in the span of 24 hours. Within 24 hours, more than 500 homes were completely burnt to the ground. And that's devastating. My heart goes out to anybody who lost their homes, or even anybody who's displaced, anybody who lost anything, or anybody who was affected by this. My heart and my thoughts go out to you. As little as that truly means. I'm going to put links in the bio of, safe places where you can donate. I also definitely wanted to shout out and say a big thank you to all of the firefighters, EMS, first responders, police force, volunteers. So thank you to all you people. Other than that, enjoy the episode for what it is. Thanks.
Welcome to the No Fun Podcast Zone with Ryan Dodge and Danny Starr.
No Fun Podcast Zone. That's a new one.
Oh, Jesus.
See, isn't it fucking hard, dude? All right, everyone. Fucking welcome to the newest episode. This is the New Year's episode. Danny's drinking whiskey. I got coffee with a little bit of whiskey in it. We're ready to go. It's the No Fun Zone podcast, and this is going to be our talk about the year in review. And sort of just looking through everything that happened this year, some of the cool stuff, some of the not so cool stuff that's also kind of wrapped in with everything else. But since it's New Year's Eve, let's just go ahead and go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year's, everyone. Danny,
Happy New Year's.
How you doing?
Okay. Yeah. Not bad. Can't complain. Looking forward to 2022.
All right. Year in review.
Let's get into it.
Definitely a lot of crazy shit happened. Overall, I'd say objectively, you'd have to say definitely better than the year previous, 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Significantly better than that year. But a few, I would say, faux pas throughout the year, but some cool shit happened too. I would say we didn't start out super great. We kind of tripped over the first hurdle, being as that last January, almost
didn't even get a week into the year.
Yeah, literally couldn't even get 7 days through the year, and I mean the fucking elephant in the room. Yeah, the Capitol storming. Of the Proud Boys and the Trump supporters, and it was a really crazy kind of experience to just sit and watch.
Oh yeah,
like that's never something that you expected to happen in America. You expect that the Capitol is going to be fine, you know what I mean? And for that to happen, like you see that happen in other countries across the world, but for that to happen in America is pretty it's mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, especially we grew up with that sense of pride and like how orderly America kind of is as a democracy. And so to see it go through what it went on January 6th was pretty trippy, man. I will say this, if that would have happened in a country that was more militaristic, well, I don't think there's a more militaristic country than America, so maybe I should say maybe a more dictator-based country. I feel like the army would have been at the Capitol, and it would have been just a bloodbath.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, in almost any other country besides like Western Europe and America and Canada, maybe Australia. For the most part, like, yeah, if you stormed the Capitol building of almost any other country in the world, you're going to be met with military ready to shoot on site. And
Yeah.
I can't believe how easily and how ill prepared the Capitol Police were. Like, it was a handful of them. It wasn't even all that many.
No, they had to call in. They had to call in like the Washington D.C. police force
Yeah, and
to like come and help.
eventually the National Guard, but still they didn't show up until like late in the night. That's
And wasn't that the National Guard? Is the National Guard called on by the president? And so, like certain,
yeah.
there were reasons why there wasn't like a military response because Donald Trump wouldn't call it, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
He already had his army there.
Well, exactly.
So
He wanted, and that's actually really funny that you bring that topic up. On the phone line right now, actually, this is absolutely
you got him. Oh my god,
crazy.
we actually got him.
This is absolutely nuts for this person to come on to a podcast like this. You know, we're not that big, we're still up and coming, but for this person to come on here and sort of explain his thoughts on what happened, we actually have on the phone, not on the Zoom, so you won't be able to see him, but you will hear his voice. It's the former president, Donald Trump. Everybody,
No shit.
This is crazy. Hello.
Yeah, you're on, Donald. We can hear you.
I honestly, I can't hear you. Can you hear me right now?
Yeah, we got you, Donald.
Can you hear? I can't. What's Don Jr.? What's going on with the phone? I don't know what's going on. I can't hear them. I'm not sure if they can hear me or not. But I definitely. Hello.
Yeah, we got you, Trump. We can hear you, bud. We're here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay. Finally.
All right. Good.
I think.
How's it going, Donald? How are you doing today?
I am doing terrific. It's a great honor for both myself, but also because I love this podcast. I do. These guys, a couple of terrific guys, a couple of high class, very prestigious guys. I'm talking Ryan Dodge and Daniel.
I prefer Danny.
Daniel Starr. And these guys are terrific guys. They host a wonderful podcast. So it's both an honor for me.
So Donald, can we
excuse me. It's an honor for me to come onto this podcast because these guys are terrific guys. They're great. I'm not liking Daniel as much as I was before because he keeps honestly, frankly, he keeps interrupting me. But it's also an honor for them to have me on their podcast. So I wanted to get that out there that it's an honor for you to have me on here. So go ahead with the questions, I guess.
All right. Well, thank you for that lovely introduction, Donald. Can you hear me?
You're very welcome. It was your honor to have me. Thank you. So go ahead.
Well, so we were just talking about, and by the way, first of all, so horrible to have you on the podcast. I can't wait till you get off the podcast. But
I don't know how this happened. I don't know how this got lined up, but this is just why is this happening?
But yeah, Donald, we were just talking about January 6th. Ring a bell? What were you doing that day?
I had a rally. It was a terrific rally. We were on a very large grass field, the biggest field, bigger than Joe Biden would ever be able to fill in his lifetime. It was a terrific rally.
Rally is certainly a very painted word to describe what was held on January 6th.
Well, you see, this is all the fake news. They're making stuff up. They're talking about me, and uh, they're what I held was a rally.
Donald, control
Excuse me.
yourself. Control yourself.
Excuse me.
What do you have to say about your boy Mike Pence not getting your back during this rally of yours?
Well, Mike Pence is a terrific guy, but also a lying pig. He was a great ally. He did a lot of stuff for me, but also he is very mean and very sad, and very mean, but also a terrific guy. Basically, I don't want to explicitly say that anybody is terrible because strategically they might be a future ally in the future, and I'm trying to think of the future of both myself.
Mr. Trump, have you ever heard of the term sore loser?
Yes, I have. I believe in the dictionary his name is LeBron James.
Bringing LeBron James under fire. All right, Donald. All right. What was the reason for your rally on January 6th?
Well, it's because
what was the cause for concern?
Well, it's because the election was stolen. You talk to everybody. Everybody knows this. The election, it was stolen. Sleepy Joe could not have ever won. And on that note, actually, I wanted to bring up, I just had a fantastic meeting with Michael Zuckerberg. I believe he owns the Facebook thing, but I'm going to be running for president of the metaverse in the year 2022. This is why I came on this terrific but very deflaming but also terrific podcast. But also Daniel doesn't, he rubs me the wrong way. But anyway,
congratulations is in order. First president in history to be impeached twice.
They did not impeach me. It was not an actual impeachment. Bill, would you look at Hillary and Bill Clinton, who, by the way, knew Jeffrey Epstein very well. They knew him very well. Just as much, much less than I knew him. But, well, I was not impeached. It's all a fake. It's fake news.
So when you were able to get those people together for your rally and seeing the outcome of what they were doing and what you were inciting, were you surprised at the outcome?
Excuse me. I did not incite anything.
Do you know what the term incite means, Donald?
Isn't that just like isn't a little bug, like an ant, or perhaps even a roach? You know, bugs are everywhere, and I cannot control the bugs. I was not elected president of the bugs. I was elected president of the United States of America, and not the United States of the bugs. Okay, that's not.
You got me there, Trump. I will say this though. Protecting our lands and everything and our ecosystems does actually prioritize bugs in specific situations. So
we are protecting. Excuse me, Daniel. Very rude, very mean, very sad. We're protecting our lands better than ever before, and that's why, even though I'm not currently president right now, I am still working to build that wall. And we are keeping our lands safer than they've ever been before because we're still building that wall. It's a great wall. It's a terrific
I do applaud you for being one of the most green presidents there is out there. Being on the green more than any other president in recorded history. Which is great job.
I don't know if you're hinting at my time on the golf course, but
you're quick, Donald. You're a quick one.
Do you mind if I ask the former president a question or two?
By all means.
Okay. Mr. President, you have been accused of numerous sexual allegations, including, cheating on your wives, multiple, I mean. Uh, does that still, and, your comments on the bus with Billy Bush, during your election campaign, like, how do you feel like you are able to talk to women about women's issues? Well, you see, the nobody has actually recorded a single thing. This is all allegations. Stormy Daniels, she lied, and she lied. And she's a terrible woman, but I respect her. And she has the right to do whatever she wants to do, but a really terrible woman. Just like Hillary is a terrible woman. But I love Hillary. I love Hillary. She's terrific. She's wonderful, but also a very, very nasty woman. Well, no, Donald, you seem like you're constantly berating women. How do you feel like voters will come back to you in 2024, considering that you're still they came out for me the entire time in 2016. I had more of the women's vote than Hillary Clinton did. And that's
Donald, is that the first time that women have ever came for you?
Oh no. I give people money to give to them, and then they come to me. Like, I gave Jeffrey, excuse me, I did not say Jeffrey. I did not give Jeffrey Epstein
It's
millions
safe,
of
Donald.
dollars. I don't think any. What do you mean save? The only save that we're talking about is the fact that I would have saved Afghanistan if Sleepy Joe hadn't have ruined my evil plan, my very good plan. Very not evil at all. I mean, a very good, positive, a good plan. And the workers of this country, we're bringing coal back. I guess Mr. President, Mr. Ex-President, Mr. Trump, why do you keep talking about coal like it's going to be a resurging form of electricity? Like, coal is clearly going out the picture, and we need to move away from these really crude fossil fuels. Well, excuse me, I mean, the coal belt of America, we supply coal to everyone, and we make the best coal. Our coal is so terrific, it's almost classified as diamonds. Okay, our coal has been pressed so well, so neatly, and so beautifully that the coals are basically diamonds at this point. And if we keep these coal pressers working, we're going to have an absolute hold on the diamond markets. Okay, we won't have to pay these upsell prices from foreign countries. Okay, in China, upselling us on their diamonds. Okay, we're going to produce our own diamonds, and for that we need Virginia to vote for Donald Trump. In the metaverse, which I am co-forming with Miguel Zuckerberg. I don't know if he's Jewish or Spanish, but it's something like that.
Donald, I feel like we've gotten vastly off track here, Donald.
I don't see how that's happened. I feel like I've been very poignant. Okay.
Oh,
and
I'm surprised you knew that word.
I have the best words that anybody has ever heard. I have words like poignant, enigmatic,
Ooh,
leadership, prosperity, and such as those. Okay, so when you disparage my words and my vocabulary, it's very sad. Okay. Spell.
Well, you have quite a menagerie of words there, Donald. I'm very proud of you.
Okay, well, spell onomatopoeia for me. Okay, please.
I'll pass. I'll pass.
Okay, so then you're a big dumb idiot then. Okay, go ahead with your next.
Donald,
Okay, so
you big dumb idiot.
ask
We
your
only have a
next
couple
question.
more minutes. We only have a couple
Okay.
more minutes here, Donald.
Okay, that's fine because I have a lot of business stuff to do later anyway.
I'm sure you're quite a busy man, Donald.
I'm very busy. I'm the busiest. I'm the busiest person you've ever seen. So, on that note, I have a few business meetings that I need to go and run. So, I guess you're welcome for having me on the podcast. The podcast. You guys, once again, terrific guys. Actually, since I left the presidency, I really don't have that much stuff to do. I'm so lonely. I'm here at Mar-a-Lago. Melania hasn't talked to me. I spent Christmas by myself. So lonely, so sad.
Well, Donald, if you want, you can stay on, but we really have a lot to get through. So if you want to just kind of more listen than talk, that'd be great.
Yeah, Donald, we really need you to kind of just be quiet because we have some stuff that we want to talk about today. So if you're really, I feel bad at this point. If
I feel bad. Our next issue topic here is the incoming investigation going on Donald Trump. And
excuse me, there's no investigation. Donald, please.
What did we say, Donald?
We asked you very politely if you want to listen to us record. I'm sorry. I'm so lonely. Melania doesn't talk to me anymore. Ivanka and Jared Kushner, I haven't seen them in months. Okay. And I spent Christmas by myself out on the putting green trying to work on my short game because Tiger Woods told me how fantastic it was, but I want to get it just better. Donald, okay, I get it that you're lonely, but we're really trying to go through some stuff here right now, man. So can you please please for 10, 15 minutes, just be quiet, okay? I don't know how you're still on the line. I thought I hung up on you a minute ago. Okay, so, all right. So I guess we kind of went through the riots, how crazy they were a little bit.
Yeah, they were crazy, a little bit fucked up, pretty trippy to see. People died. People committed suicide after the fact, too, which was pretty gnarly.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, I think a couple of police officers killed themselves after the whole situation. There's this really good documentary on HBO. I think it's called like 4 Hours Later or 4 Hours. 4 hours. Now I need to look it up. 4 hours at the Capitol. Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess some people couldn't deal with like the fucked up shit that they went through and couldn't take it. And a lot of those people were the fucking heroes who were trying to keep the peace. And in this documentary, they show like a lot. They gather a lot of video footage of a lot of people who were there at the riot and were storming. And the front entrance was literally like something out of 300 because they piled in all the like guards and police officers they could into the main entrance, and they held for 4 or 5 hours. And the footage was literally like hundreds of these people storming this little hallway and just police officers with their riot shields holding for 4 or 5 hours and switching out with each other. Some of them got pulled out, and like this one guy got pulled out and he was telling his tale of like there was a handful of people who were like fucking kill him, but there's some pretty stand-up human beings who were like got him on his feet and brought him back to the other SWAT forces that were there. And yeah, it's easy to just talk shit about all these people going to the storm and being these psycho people who, and most people, I assume all the people that were there were obviously Trump supporters and obviously having issues with the voter counting and obviously thinking, of this deep-seated corruption going on with our government. But a lot of them, are pretty normal human beings. Some of them, I mean, when I saw the footage of some of the people dragging the police officer back to their people so that they could get back to safety, I was like, okay, cool. Like, they're not all just raving lunatics out here in this crowd.
Yeah. Well, the same thing with you have your bad apples, you have your good apples in every bunch.
Yeah.
I mean,
there were some fucking psychopaths out there.
Absolutely, but that's when the same thing happened at the World Trade offices in like the late 90s. Same thing happened with what were the Wall Street protests in like 2000?
Oh yeah, back in like yeah.
What was that called? I can't think of it, but same thing with basically any protest, any widespread protest movement that we've seen. There are some people that are there specifically because it's an excuse to do these things.
Yeah.
And most of those people that are there, just like, half the people, not half. Okay. I would say that the percentage of people that were there to just like truly cause chaos, most of them were there simply to cause chaos. Like they didn't have, they had the QAnon conspiracies and like things like that. And they also had, Trump bolstering them and like feeding their sort of, feeding the mob mentality, which is crazy because that's one of the reasons why Jim Morrison went to jail a bunch of times in the 60s is when he would like
inciting a mob.
Yeah, inciting a riot and inciting a mob at a rock and roll concert. And Jim Morrison went to jail for that. Whereas Trump essentially can be argued doing the exact same thing. It's an inherent thing that happens with people when they gain anonymity. So when you're in a mob of people that are all sort of chanting like, stop the steal, stop the steal. Or at the same time, if you're on a internet messaging board and you have a fake name as your username, you gain this sort of feeling of anonymity, and that's when people tend to be the worst versions of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Stanford prison experiments. Did you ever
read
about that? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So when the guards had ultimate power, but also anonymity associated with that, that's when they started they knew that the rules didn't apply to them.
Yeah, and they start disregarding the humanity of their counterparts.
Exactly. And that's what happens either when a group has power or when a group has so much mass that each individual member has some form of anonymity. And that allows people to sort of go farther than they probably ever would have normally. But because everyone else is around and they're probably not going to get caught. But the ironic thing with the January 6th riot or storming of the Capitol was everybody was on Facebook Live or Instagram Live, or everyone had their phones out taking pictures and taking videos. Yeah. So everybody was, and nobody was wearing masks. Everyone just had their faces out and just like, unless they were the ones in like SWAT gear and militia gear, the Proud Boys, fucking Proud Boys, dude. Fucking what's up, brother?
Who are these Proud Boys?
Boy? Oh, you don't. They're sort of a. I guess the media would call them alt-right group, but a heavy right-wing oriented group that's somewhat sort of militia-based, where it's kind of like, I don't know, what's the flag with the rattlesnakes on it? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, the Semper Fi.
What's
isn't it a marine
Don't
flag?
tread on me. It's a bunch of don't tread on me boys. Is basically what it is the Proud Boys movement.
Yeah, that's right.
It's basically the right version of like Antifa. Because Antifa's that just ultra hardcore left wing side that's also can be very violent. Proud Boys is like the antithesis of that.
Okay.
And a bunch of them had like organized, and like you can see them in the footage walking in combat formation with like one hand on the shoulder of the next guy. Everyone has, camo, military style gear, bulletproof jackets, helmets, and they're some of the ones who started that initial sort of break-in process.
Okay. Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, like, they literally did nothing in the long scheme of things, in the grand scheme of things. They didn't really accomplish anything. Joe Biden was still sworn in. The votes still got counted. They ruffled up some some offices and threw a bunch of papers everywhere. But other than that, they just got their rocks off. It was just like, yeah, we're taking down the freaking Capitol, man. We're doing it. We're doing it. Fucking stop the steal, dude. Stop the steal, brother. But you got nothing.
I guess the most profound thing that they did do was, shock the nation and just kind of show, it was kind of like the climax of the kind of polarities that we see in the political system right now, and like how intense it can come. And so while they themselves really didn't accomplish anything, the event itself kind of was very illuminating.
Yeah. It definitely showed, and especially like I'm shocked that they're so lucky that they didn't get taken out by the military. Like, that's the thing that's most shocking, is the fact that they stormed literally the Capitol and were literally trying to hang Mike Pence, who was then acting vice president, kill Nancy Pelosi, even kill Mitch McConnell. Like, everybody in the Congress and the Senate, they wanted their heads on spikes. And it still took the government 12 hours to respond, to really bring in like forces. And they knew about this for weeks in advance. Like, this was planned. This was set up. This was orchestrated. People were preparing for this. And it's still, there was no resources. Like, that's what seems kind of confusing to me, is like, you knew this was coming. Just like you knew 9/11 was coming. Not necessarily the date or when or how, but you knew that something was stirring, and you didn't really take any precautions to prevent it from coming to fruition.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and on the Capitol takeover, it was written plain and clear on Twitter all over the place. January 6th, we're going to go to the Trump rally, and then we're going to go take back Congress.
Yeah.
And there was no precautions taken. That seems ludicrous.
I'm getting a little conspiratorial here, but did they almost not take precautions in order for it to have the effect that it did?
That's
as in, you catch what I'm saying? That's
kind of what I'm alluding to. Is like, why were there no precautions taken?
Yeah.
Was this allowed to happen? Like, so that's sort of a connecting thread with a lot of conspiracy theories. Is it's not necessarily that the government did it, but was this allowed to happen potentially? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Where like they saw the signs coming, and the JFK assassination, was that just allowed to happen?
Who knows? That didn't happen in 2021. I got to piss like a racehorse.
Yeah, I'm going to grab a beer for this, actually, because we're getting into conspiracy talk. All right, and we're back. Hey, how was your guys' piss break? Mine was terrific. I had Helga and Sylvia with me, and we went into the back room, and we had a terrific time. It was luxurious, I would say. Well, and Donald Trump, excuse me, I just wanted to jump in. God damn it, Alex Jones, how the fuck did you get on this call? This is supposed to just be with me and my friends. Well, Mr. President, I just wanted to jump in and just sort of give my support for you. Excuse me, Alex, this is a private phone call between me and my friends. You need to get the fuck out of here. I don't want to see you anymore. Well, Mr. President, excuse me, Alex, this is my room, and you need to get the fuck out, okay? Well, all right. Well, I love you, Mr. President. I love you, Donald. You're such a fucking pig. Get out of here. Okay. Anyway, I was having a conversation with my friends, Daniel and Brian. How are you? Hello. It's been a little while since I've talked. I held my promise. Okay. See, I always keep my promise. We built the wall. We got out of Afghanistan. Okay, those are two things that I said. I also said that I would be quiet for maybe 10 minutes or so.
Well, Donald, are you feeling?
You gotta understand that.
Alex, get him out of here. Get him out of here, Donald.
Alex, I told you, get the fuck out of my room. Okay, this is my time with my friends. If you want to be on their podcast, you'll have to talk to Jared. He might be able to set it up for you. Okay.
Alex, you actually might be quintessential for this conversation. We're about to talk about UAPs.
Well, and you see the Alex, get the fuck out of here. All right, so space.
Let's talk about UAP.
All right, UAPs. Okay, there's a lot of space alien shit that's been going on over the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever. UAPs is the new term, unidentified aerial phenomenon, as opposed to UFOs, unidentified flying objects. Whatever.
Semantics. That also brings me back to, I forget the name of the artist who does it, but she was offended by the word alien.
But aliens have sort of taken this place of almost like a godlike presence in our culture nowadays. If you think that aliens would get offended, if they even have the ability to be offended, because a lot of the stories about aliens is that they don't feel emotions, or at least the little grays.
I have a dispute with that, good sir.
Oh, all right. Go ahead.
Potentially. So I understand your...
Good sir, I have a dispute.
Excuse me. I have some bullshit to spew. Yeah.
May I take the presence of the court?
I shouldn't say what I was about to say. Now that I stopped the court. I agree with you in understanding aliens in a godlike sense, especially if they were the ones to make contact first with their higher intelligence, higher build of a civilization that can travel speeds that we can only imagine. And we would initially be like, well, they're a more advanced being, which is very godlike in the sense, right? Mm-hmm. And so, I totally agree with you there. And I'm not in disagreement with you anywhere. I'm just really high. And so now I'm speaking as I think. So I guess no disagreement from me here, but a question I want to bring up.
That's the point, dude. At some point. No disagreement, but this thing and then this, and then this doesn't mean anything but this. And then
it's hilarious because I'm bringing up an emotional factor into it, which is just fucking hilarious.
How do you know that aliens have
emotions? I guess what I'm trying to say is, would a higher advanced life form no longer have the use for emotions, or would emotions help them propel them into a higher evolution?
Or would a higher evolved species have those same emotions, but then send out biological androids in ships because they knew that it was going to take them 4 million light years distance of travel to get to that destination? So they send out biological androids to do their reconnaissance. And then they're on a multi-generational ship that's sending a colony in our direction. Ooh.
No, that's a high pot.
So maybe the aliens that we see are just the androids of that higher self being. We're going
So
off on another
so the aliens that sent that bot are 4 million years old. And what kind of advancements would that civilization endure or go through that 4 million years? So not only would we be coming into contact with something that is already 4 million years old, but also potentially 4 million years more advanced than us, and then realize, oh, they've evolved for 4 more million years since receiving this.
Well, maybe they evolved and they created technologies and became
Maybe they had a younger Dryas.
maybe, and maybe the androids that got sent here were all programmed, and that initial civilization died millions of years ago.
So long ago.
2 million years ago,
Yeah.
that civilization died before their androids could get here. And now the androids are operating off of an AI system,
Mm-hmm.
and they
That's
don't have
still working.
and they don't have that sort of emotional protocol that would have been led by that ancient civilization on the planet Zarkrast, 4 million light years away.
That's a good name.
Zarkarast is a great name, and it's a factual name because that's what the planet is called, because I read about this in a book. Okay?
You talking about 1984?
Yeah, it was in 1984. It was also in
All right.
1997. It was also in 2026.
Fuck you.
Either way, but like that could be a potential. That could be something, because like this brings us into some stuff that we've done. We send probes out into the galaxy or into space, near solar space.
We just touched the sun.
Exactly. We just sent a probe into the sun, where it technically kind of touched the surface of the sun, but not really.
That outer atmosphere.
Yeah, it made it through the outer atmosphere and then burnt up. But still,
Yeah,
pretty cool.
it got there.
We've sent countless probes. Like the one in the 70s was very famous. The one that Carl Sagan helped design, the radio disc that communicated different languages and different like ways to say hello and different earth sounds, and also like a solar map of where to find us. But
yeah, sent it out into space.
Yep, and we sent that far out, way past our solar system, and that was in the early formations of SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligent life, or extraterrestrial intelligence. That was sort of in like the precursor phases of that operation.
And so it's gone out past our solar system by now.
Oh yeah, it left our solar system in like, I want to say like the late 80s, maybe longer than, or maybe even earlier than that.
Do we have contact with it still?
I don't believe we have any radio contact with it. It was more of like, it was sent out. It took pictures of Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn. It took all these.
I remember reading about it a handful of years ago when it flew past Pluto.
I don't know if that's the same one or not, but maybe.
Okay.
I wouldn't multiple. Know. Either way, what I'm trying to set up is the idea that us, as you know, I can't remember. It might have been Sagan. There's the levels of not societies, but like fuck.
Are you talking about level civilizations?
Sort of. Yeah, there's a level of like stage 1, stage 2.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's stage 1 civilization, which is able to control all the resources of their planet. And then I think it's stage 2 civilization that can manage all the resources of their solar system. And then a stage 3 civilization can manage the entire resources of the galaxy. We're still not even a stage 1 civilization yet. Where was I going with this? I had a really good point that I was leading to.
We're just talking about SETI and the thing
okay. Perfect. So us being not even a stage 1 civilization, we are sending out probes that are leaving our solar system that could potentially one day encounter other civilizations in other solar systems. What's to say that aliens in far off reaches of the universe did the same thing and sent off their probes, which were biological androids, i.e. the Greys, and then their civilization might have died out while those things were on their way here.
Mm-hmm.
That was a really roundabout way to get to the origin of what that
sparked. Now you crushed it, dude. No, that's a fascinating idea. And with the SETI probe or satellite or whatever the fuck went flying out there, is it a probe?
It's a probe.
Is that the right terminology?
Yeah, I believe so. Space probe.
Thank you. Like, if another intelligent life form were to find it, or it found them, obviously, as far as language goes and things like that, like there's going to be obviously they're not going to be ready to decipher it, but by understanding the technology behind the probe and the relative non-linguistic intelligence on the information inside the probe, would they be able to guess and understand at essentially what level that species might be at? Not saying that we're all operating on this same stage 1, 2, and 3, but to they would have their own terminology of that objective scale, so to speak. So like, what if the Greys came in and were like, okay, well, we guess that this society is coming from, they're at like a stage 1 right now, and they're working up to stage 2. We need to get to them to contact them to help them better. Now I'm getting super heady. Control their solar system. Weed really upped this conversation.
Well, yeah.
Thank you, Weed.
So as far as deciphering goes, I think all the messages are made essentially within a mathematical format.
Right.
It's not like somebody just wrote out in English like, hey, we're at Earth.
Hey, what's up?
We're around the sun. Check this out, dude.
Do you know how the mathematical equations were transcribed?
As far as I know, as in terms of the position that Earth or our solar system is located, it's a 2D model, or it's a 2D representation of the 3D model of where we are located relative to other bright stars.
So it gave them a location. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay.
And so it was an objective. It was a map.
Essentially, and it's basically, the idea is, and it's also an actual record that plays sounds from Earth and a bunch of other, like hello in 30 different languages or something. But the idea is, if this ends up in any remotely intelligent civilization's hands, they would pretty easily be able to figure out where it came from.
And essentially sending out coordinates, and it's basically like who else is out there.
Yeah. And the only way that it works is because math is a universal language. 2 + 2 is 4 wherever you are in the universe.
That's true. I guess how one comes to understand that someone is saying 2 + 2 = 4 is the name of the game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what the big challenge was with making the plate.
Yeah.
I think they actually used the work of Da Vinci, the man, the
Vitruvian Man.
Yeah, Vitruvian Man. I think they used that to sort of show that, our body types and what we look like. But then there's also the mathematical relationships that are built within that, like we
understand the building blocks of our nature.
Yeah, like the Fibonacci. Finubian?
I mean, if you were to if you need to say Fibonaccian, you're close.
Yeah, Fibonacci sequence. is built within our facial structure. It's also built within the ratios of our arms to legs to body size.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
all related to
the building
pi.
blocks of nature, right? So it's and if it's consistent throughout our galaxy, people are going to read and recognize that level of intelligence of understanding that we understand the general nature of our existence.
Yeah. If there's a civilization that can figure out what pi is and how that is sort of involved in the golden ratio, then that's obviously a civilization that is making their way through becoming a full stage 1 civilization.
Yeah.
So that would require any higher civilization that's able to pick up on that stuff to go in and sort of like, if there is a galactic federation or whatever Star Wars fucking says, if there is such a thing as a galactic federation, they would. And that's why there's the theory that UFO sightings went up so dramatically after 1945, when the Manhattan Project was completed and we started detonating nuclear bombs. That's when the quote-unquote Galactic Federation went like, oh shit, these guys could potentially end their entire civilization. So now it's time for us to start checking in a little bit more frequently. Whereas, Ancient Aliens show says, oh, they've been periodically checking in on us for millennia. And then 1945 happens, and they're like, "Oh shit, we gotta fucking do more rabbit check-ins.
We gotta go. These guys are starting to get some power."
And that's why the Pentagon is now releasing in 2021. We kind of got off the topic of talking about the last year, but the UFOs are now being officially researched once again, ever since the 1960s and Project Blue Book. Now the UFOs are being researched under the Pentagon, and the UAPs, I guess, is what they should be called now. But I think that might offend aliens more than UFOs. They might not consider themselves aerial phenomena. They might consider themselves just flying objects. They might get offended by that, just like we call them aliens. Thanks, Demi Lovato.
On Diddy.
Yeah, now that we're researching UFOs more consistently, it kind of begs the question, are these legitimate UFOs, or is this shit that the government's been working on for many, many years and has sort of been hiding it, and then now UFOs is the perfect time and the perfect sort of smokescreen to start deploying some of these weapons?
I mean, the UAP is like the more recently formed department of a government that's researching into this. I'm sure it's not the first, right? So it's probably just piggybacking off its predecessors. What I find interesting about the UAP is, they're really trying to only take into consideration the most, dare I say, legitimate evidence of UFOs flying. And so it really focuses on the military's experience in finding these phenomena. And so there's those handful of recordings that happened in like the early 2000s. I think the last one happened in 2014, where certain Air Force pilots were making routes and stuff and would find these and record these UAPs or UFOs, and not have a fucking clue what they are. And so I think UAP's focus is a little bit more branched on the evidence from military experience, because I think that it might be some of the more legitimate evidence or legitimate encounters that they can actually study.
Yeah, it's certainly more credible evidence than just like some guy in the field saying like, I saw them fucking lights just running overhead. They were in a triangle formation.
I'm almost thinking that for 2022 that we make a New Year's resolution of not really trying to plan the podcast, but have an idea in mind and then just go and see if we do better or if that's too open.
I've been kind of honestly thinking about that as well, is like trying to have a plan. We never stick to the fucking plan, dude.
Hey, we did well with Skinwalker up until Super Dookie.
No. We spent fucking 25 minutes on Spooky
Dude,
Dookie.
This is what we should do. I don't know if it correlates to our substance abuse, but like, I feel like if we generally are sober at the start of the podcast, we'll at least get 45 minutes of decent topic-focused stuff. And then when we start smoking and drinking, it's like, then we start to get comical and like just start to debase the conversation. But I think that's an important part of our podcast. It just has to, we have to find the sweet spot, you know?
Every episode needs to have a part 1 and a part 2.
Yeah, exactly. Or just like a warning of like, you know,
leave content now. Things are about to get weird. We're gonna talk about a fictional fucking superhero who scares away demons with the size of his poops.
You know, it's a problem when I'm like, hey, that was a good episode. We did really good for this one.
Personally, I think that one was our best. That's the one where I walked away going like, we captured the exact essence of what
quintessential fun zone.
Well, hopefully in 2022, this podcast will become more direct and more focused and more on point and more sort of message driven.
Yeah.
But until that happens,
we'll find out.
Yeah, you're going to have to put up with this. And even if the world comes to a bitter end and we die via global warming and, manufacturing issues, we can all take up residence in the metaverse with fucking Marcus Zuckerberg.
Jeffrey Bezos. I got a split.
This has been going on for too long. So thank you to everyone. Happy 2021. Danny,
good luck editing this, Ryan.
Dude.
Godspeed. Call me if you need help.
I probably will need Godspeed because this will take me forever.
All right, buddy. I fucking love you. Talk to you.
Peace.
Peace.